Hello and welcome back to Spuds and Coasters. Last week I made my most underrated roller coasters video and you guys seem to really like that one, so it's time for my most overrated roller coasters. Now, a few things I should mention before we begin. This is all based off of my experiences, and let's face it, everyone has different experiences with roller coasters. So if this does surprise you, please, some of my experiences were from a while ago, so I'm probably due a re-ride on some. Anyway, let's begin. Starting in Espanol, I found out that Dragon Con at Portaventura is actually surprisingly overrated. I mean, people glaze this for saying it's super intense and very forceful. However, when I rode this, I found that majority of the layout wasn't actually that forceful at all. In fact, I think there's only two elements I found to be forceful as they said. These were the 0G roll and the subsequent Cobra roll. And before you try and say I rode this first thing so it wasn't warmed up, I was gonna, but broke down on it. So I went back at like 4 PM and that's when I rode it. Bish bash bosh. I don't know. Maybe I needed to wait until night time or something, but I found it to be lacking in intensity and overall forces for that matter. I understand this ride has a strong fan base, and I still think it's a pretty good ride, but I feel like I'm the polar opposite to that fan base. I'm really not the biggest fan of this ride. Going back to the UK, we have Galactica at the Alton Towers Resort. This is the world's first Bolliger and Mabillard, or B&M for short, flying coaster that opened in 2002. People like this as they say the flying feeling is great, but when I'm on this, I feel like a sad Frankfurter rotisserie style. It's not that I can't handle the sensation, it's just I find it to be awkward. Would I say it's the worst coaster at Towers? No. I mainly put this on the list because I just don't think that this is actually as good as people say. I just feel like this is a bit there as a gimmick, you know, like not an exciting layout. I understand that this was the first one of its kind, but genuinely the layout is quite sad. I'll be honest, I feel like if Merlin decided to remove this, I wouldn't be as upset as some people would be. If they put a better coaster, I wouldn't miss Galactica. Now, turning to the Thorpe Park Resort, we have The Swarm. Now, I have personal issues with this ride. I never found the seats comfortable and always felt like my chest was being compressed throughout. It really takes away from the whole experience. On the plus side, the layout does have some good forces, but it does have quite a prominent bounce as well. Or at least it did for me on majority of my 2025 rides. And before you try and say that, oh well, he probably only rode this once in 2025. No! Throughout 2025, I think I got somewhere between 7 to 12 rides on the Swarm. Wait, let me pull up my log ride. 9. There we go. My biggest issue with the ride is the queue line and the trains. I mean, those trains are appalling. To put it short, I don't think the Swarm is as good as people say. Okay, this is controversial. The Smiler. That's all, folks. No, but basically, I find this, much like Galactica, just to be too gimmicky. The layout has 14 inversions. And as much as I'm amazed into how they put so much in that tiny area... Wait, no, not like that. The ride is also very rattly. I consistently find my head to be colliding with the restraint, and it really hurts my ears, and head for that matter as well. This ride always gives me a hard time. I mean, I want to like the Smiler, but whenever I go on it, there are no redeeming qualities apart from one thing. The 2 airtime hills on the attraction. These are great. But frankly, on a roller coaster with 14 inversions, it shouldn't be the case that airtime is the one redeeming quality. Staying in the Midlands, we have the Wave at the Drayton Manor Resort. Slight confession, before moving on, I never rode this when it was a stand-up, so this is purely based off of the sit-down version, with no nostalgia whatsoever. What a waste of space and money. This ride is dreary. I mean, what is the point at this rate? There's one good element, the 0G roll. The rest is like a soggy Pringle, it's that bad. However, my queue line experience may have altered my overall perspective on the ride. We got delayed in the queue because a GP aggravated the wasp's nest in the station, so they had to sort that out. I found the ride to be lacking in overall force and fun factor as well. The inversions, apart from the 0G roll, had no force and were slow and boring. I was so disappointed by this ride, and I hope to never ride it again. Or maybe I should go and give it a second chance. Let me know in the comments. On to the Chessington World of Adventures Resort now, we have Mandrill Mayhem. Now, let me explain. It is very bouncy, to the point I can't enjoy the elements. They staple you with those godforsaken vest restraints, and the layout is kinda bum cheeks as well. Much like the Smiler, I seem to find one redeeming element: the junior scorpion tail, and to be fair, even that is only good on select rows, and quite frankly, it shouldn't be the case that one element saves an entire ride. It should be that every element culminates into one masterpiece attraction. By the way, if you are enjoying this so far, consider subscribing. We are so close to 50 subscribers now, which is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for your continued support. It really helps to motivate me to keep posting. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so now going back to Thorpe Park, we have Stealth. This Intamin accelerator, in my opinion, is a very overrated roller coaster. I always find myself thinking, this is very short, and holy moly, that valley after the top hat is the most godforsaken, outrageously rattly valley I've ever bear witness to. Apart from Stampeder, this ride is far too short. Like, when you see Accelerator at Knott's Berry Farm and then compare the two, you realise a large difference in duration, and also it's the same size footprint, at least to the best of my knowledge. Say what you want, I actually think that this space where Stealth is right now is actually wasted potential. They could have put a much better coaster here, but you know what? I get it. They may not have had as many coaster models available at the time, but now all we really need is a Hyper Pinfari with a 0G banana roll or something, and then, only then, will Thorpe Park be a perfect theme park. Keeping in the southeast of England, we have Minifigure Speedway at the Legoland Windsor Resort. This Sierra Force coaster has a pretty good layout, but is let down by the sheer lack of theming throughout the queue line and the attraction itself. This ride seems to disappoint me every time. The trains look great, granted, but if we don't focus on that, we actually have very little to pass off as theming. The billboard is actually quite depressing, and as much as Roxy is a marvel to see in person, as that girl is humongous, that minifigure is humongous, I just feel as if there could have been a lot more done with this coaster. Don't get me wrong, I think the layout's really good with some nice forces, however a good coaster has to have a good layout, and be paired with a good story and great theming, well at least for me anyway, and my issue is I tend to see neither of these qualities around Minifigure Speedway. For our last controversial opinion today, we have Storm Chaser at Paulton's Park with Peppa Pig World. I love Peppa Pig World. Quick note, before I state the opinion, it has been quite a while since I've gone to Paulton's, so this may be a bit biased given the fact I haven't recently ridden the ride. I just found the layout to be a bit underwhelming when you stack it up against most people's opinions. The theming for this coaster is great, and I will never say that Paulton's did a bad job theming this Mac product. I am happy that Paulton's Park has a variety of family coasters, with a spinning coaster and a Gerstlauer Eurofighter very soon. I'm so excited for Dracon. I just feel like Storm Chaser fell short of my expectations. I'm definitely due a re-ride on it at some point, so who knows, I might have to come back to these opinions sometime in a couple years or so. Another positive of Storm Chaser are the interactions with Tornado Springs, as it looks the part. I'm just not the biggest fan of the layout, and yes, I can tolerate spinning, you may. So there we go, my definitive list of controversial opinions about my most overrated in regards to my most overrated roller coasters as per February 2026. I'm sure some of my opinions surprised you, so comment your opinions below. If you made it this far and enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more, check out my most underrated coasters video on my channel, and I'll also put a link in the video description. Anyway, thanks once again for watching, and make sure to stay tuned for more laughs and entertainment right here on Spuds and Coasters. Take care everyone.